On July 20th, 1969, humanity achieved the impossible. The world watched, breathless, as Neil Armstrong took his first steps onto the lunar surface. A moment broadcast in grainy black and white to hundreds of millions. We were told it was one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. A definitive victory in the Cold War's tense space race. For a generation, it was a symbol of human ingenuity and courage. But what if that giant leap was a giant lie? What if the greatest achievement of the 20th century was actually its most elaborate deception? A desperate gambit played out on the world stage? Proponents of this theory point to the visual record itself, claiming it's filled with damning anomalies. Take the American flag, planted by Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. In the footage, it appears to flutter and wave. Yet, the moon has no atmosphere, no wind to make it ripple. How could a flag wave in the silent vacuum of space? Then there are the stars. Look at any official Apollo photograph. The sky is a perfect pitch black void. With no atmospheric haze to obscure the view, shouldn't the lunar sky be ablaze with a brilliant, stunning star field? Critics argue their absence is a telltale sign of a controlled studio environment, and the shadows are perhaps the most famous piece of supposed evidence. In photos, the shadows cast by the astronauts and the lunar module are not parallel. They fall at different angles, suggesting the presence of multiple light sources, much like the complex lighting rigs used on a film set, not the single powerful light of the distant sun. Beyond the photographic evidence, there are the immense physical dangers of space travel that some believe were insurmountable at the time. The Earth is surrounded by the Van Allen radiation belts, two immense zones of highly charged particles trapped by our planet's magnetic field. NASA knew of their existence. The question is, how did the Apollo astronauts travel through them and back without receiving a lethal dose of radiation? The spacecraft's thin aluminum hull offered minimal protection, and the photographic film on board should have been fogged or completely destroyed by the exposure. Yet, the astronauts returned in perfect health, and their photos were crystal clear. Was the technology of the 1960s truly advanced enough to shield them from this deadly cosmic barrage? Or did they simply never go? If it was a hoax, who could have possibly pulled it off? This is where the story takes a cinematic turn, leading directly to Hollywood. The theory goes that the US government, desperate to beat the Soviets, enlisted the help of a master filmmaker, Stanley Kubrick. His 1968 film, 2001, A Space Odyssey, had set a new standard for cinematic realism, creating space scenes so convincing they awed audiences and filmmakers alike. Speculation suggests that NASA, perhaps after realizing a real mission was too risky or impossible, secretly hired Kubrick to use his groundbreaking techniques and the sound stages he had already built to direct and film the entire Apollo 11 mission right here on Earth. Today, the debate rages on. We see a rapid-fire recap, a waving flag in a windless world, a starless sky, non-parallel shadows, and the deadly, inescapable radiation belts. These are the lingering questions that fuel the conspiracy. The official explanation points to evidence like modern high-resolution images from lunar orbiters, which clearly show the Apollo landing sites, complete with the descent stages of the lunar modules and tracks left by the rovers. But for some, that isn't enough to put the doubts to rest. We are left with an iconic image, a single footprint in the dust, a symbol of either humanity's greatest triumph or its most audacious fabrication.